Hello, ladies, and welcome to this Witch Wrangling Masterclass, where I'll be guiding you through the reasons why we act in ways that are not aligned with our subconscious thinking so that we can learn to change. This is an incredibly powerful masterclass, and you'll have so many light bulb moments. You'll need to do some work, so grab a pen and paper and an open mind and give yourself permission to objectively observe your thoughts and beliefs with curiosity. So let's get into it. Okay, so what I'll be covering today, we'll be chatting about your wine witch, trying to understand her, where she's come from. We'll look at some of your wine witch stories, and we'll look at the tools available to help you really identify, understand, and succeed in your journey of avoiding alcohol. So this is a very simple drawing of a brain, and where we look at two main areas. There's actually about 7 or 8 main areas to the brain, which then have sub areas. But for today's purposes, we'll just look at the human and the witch area. So basically, our brains are really complex, and when we were in the womb, the limbic part of the brain developed first, and rightly so, because it keeps us alive by encouraging us to eat and drink and propagate the species, and it keeps us safe. It's the limbic system, and it's highly emotional. Then the prefrontal system grew, and this is our human logical side, and they introduce themselves to each other, but they usually don't agree. So the main job of the limbic system is to keep us alive. It's not good or bad, but it has strong drives to keep to the status quo. It is constantly looking for danger, so it can be on edge and emotionally reactive. It's the part of our brain that is most connected to the ego. In Buddhism, it's called the monkey mind, and it insists on being heard. And sometimes it takes a lot of self-control to shut it down. It's also the part of your brain that becomes easily distracted. So if you want to get anything done in life, your challenge is to manage the monkey mind, or, as we're going to call it for today's purposes, the wine witch. So we can't get rid of her. We just need to learn to manage her. We know she becomes anxious in unfamiliar territory, and she will get anxious when you change your routine and you stop drinking. Our human mind, our rational side, knows the facts that life is better without alcohol, that we end up feeling crappy when we drink. And this particular resolve will get much stronger over this program because we'll spend time debunking the myths and stories around alcohol. But the wine witch has stories, and they're usually in your subconscious. And there's stories like, it's 5 p.m., it's time for wine. Or how will we get through this nighttime routine without wine? Or it's not fun without wine. Why are you doing this again? Knowledge is not power here. It's what you do with that knowledge. So let's have a look at some of your witch stories. Grab your journal and draw a line down the middle and write down all your current stories related to alcohol. Some of my stories are, I deserve it, it's my favorite, I need a drink, it calms me down, it helps me cope. So pause the video now and write them down. Great, so if you're back with me, I assume that you've written down some of your stories. So basically, we can't change the wine witch, so we must learn to manage her. This means you may always experience unwanted thoughts and emotions from your wine witch, but she will mature and she will learn basic behaviors, but its drives will remain the same. To manage your witch, you must first nurture her and make her feel safe and taken care of. She is happier and calmer when she's in a position where you can talk to her and she will listen. So how do you nurture her? So some of the witch wrangling tools in this program are exercising your witch, nurturing your witch, distracting her, and rewarding her. So to exercise your wine witch, it's essentially allowing her to express her feelings. And this is the case for all our feelings and emotions in life. A repressed feeling and emotion causes a blockage, and it will eventually come up in some form, whether it's illness or, physical or mental illness. So one of the tools to address these emotions is to exercise the wine witch. And what you can do is get your journal and basically take her to a locked compound and let it all out. Let the mind drama unfold onto the paper. Listen for as long as it takes and let all the stories come out, no matter how negative they are. Be curious. This is the mind's resistance to change. It's saying, I hate this. Why are you doing this? You've changed our routine. I really liked drinking. It was fun. Now you're boring. All these negative stories. You have to let those be heard. And then she'll be in a position for us to respond with love and nurture. So basically get grounded, take a nice deep breath, maybe do a meditation track before, or if you're feeling really riled up, get straight into the journaling, let all the mind drama unfold, and then finish it off by focusing on love and acceptance and nurture. So write a comment like, even though I feel this way, I deeply love and accept myself, and I give myself permission to have the life of my dreams. When you're finished, you will feel better, and she will go to sleep and you can have a human reaction. You can then deal with her in a more measured way using facts, truth, and logic. So she'll be more in a position to listen to the facts and the truth and the logic about alcohol. The human in you will acknowledge that although it is comfortable ditching the wine, it is better for you. And although wine is everywhere, it's a fact of life, and life isn't fair sometimes, but we can learn to manage it. Everyone needs to find truths that are meaningful and powerful to their wine witch. What settles your wine witch will be completely different to someone else's, and it may take repeat episodes of exercising the wine witch, even daily journaling, before she backs down. Another strategy is nurturing. The Buddhist meditation teacher and psychologist Tara Brach uses the quote that it's survival of the nurtured, not the fittest. And that is the case in life. It's the survival. People manage to survive the uncertainties and complexities and the ups and downs of life when they feel nurtured and they can offer themselves love, or they have been surrounded by love growing up. And this is something you can learn to do for yourself, and certainly something that I have learned to do. When you choose you and choose to love and accept you no matter what, everything changes. It really just isn't just spa dates. It's doing the work and showing up for yourself, learning what your needs are, and loving the person you are becoming. Practicing becoming conscious of the thought patterns and beliefs in your head and changing those self-limiting beliefs. Our core human needs are to be seen, heard, and to express ourselves authentically. If you're not really sure what your needs are, observe what you complain about or the stories you are telling yourself when you're not feeling great. Complaints are unmet needs in disguise. I go through a practice of reparenting, which is relearning how to meet my needs as an adult. Many of us neglect ourselves and don't allow our own feelings and own inner child to be seen and heard. And really, that's what it starts with before you can do it for anyone else. So, what does reparenting look like, and how can we start to do this? An example for me is sleep. It's a massive deal for my mental health. And most people. So when I'm tired, even in the daytime, I'll have a nap, even if that means putting other things on hold or canceling something. I also have to ensure that I eat well. So I try and meal plan, because otherwise it just falls by the wayside. So go through a process of identifying and learning to meet your own needs. There's tools that can help you. So an example of a tool that I use is practicing making and keeping one small promise to myself every day. At the moment, I actually have a few promises. So I do 10 minutes meditation every day. I write in my gratitude journal every day. I get outside every day, and I try and eat well most days. So other examples are, I'll do 3 minutes of meditation. I'll do 5-minute walks. I'll do 10 minutes of movement, or I'll go to bed 30 minutes earlier. From doing this, my life has really changed. I've started making my bed. I was never a bed maker. Now my bed is always made. It's really amazing. And like, you'll notice that you'll get the mind's resistance even to this small promise, and that's where the work begins. When you notice this resistance and you say, no, this is important for me, I'm learning to meet my own needs, and I will do my 10 minutes of meditation. A big part of this is also celebrating the promises that you keep to yourself, no matter how small. So you didn't drink today, like, that's a massive deal. Really celebrating that and saying, look, even if you don't feel it, just starting to notice, I feel so proud of myself that I didn't drink today. Eventually the feelings will follow, and then it becomes your reality. Be mindful of what you consume in the form of content, ideas, people around you, the news. You know, if I'm scrolling through social media now and I come across something that is, you know, a bit negative or complainy, I just try and delete it or remove it or move on, because you have to be so protective of your own energy and peace, just like you would a child. And then the last part is to accept that mental resistance from the ego is part of the process, and keep showing up. Even if you don't one day, come back to it the next day. So another tool is distracting your witch. There's some really great tools that I used in the beginning to stop when I was having a craving. I would distract my witch by brushing my teeth. I'd have a shower, I'd have something to eat, a big glass of water, have a bath, and just go to bed super early. Just those sorts of things tended to just distract me from that craving of wanting to drink. And remember, cravings, they're an emotion, and emotions usually last around 90 seconds. It's usually that we tend to dwell on it for a lot longer. You can also distract your wine witch with reward. This is very powerful. If you reward her, she will make you focus on the result you desire powerfully and will help, not hinder you. So talking about reward, you can reward your witch or yourself every day. We are aiming for positive reinforcement to condition the mind for a new response. So it's very typical, normal, that as humans, we have a negativity bias and we tend to look at the negative side of things. This is an evolutionary thing, trait that kept us alive, but we don't really need it in this day and age. So rewarding your witch can be very powerful. And for years and years, my reward was to drink. Now I reward myself by not drinking, by not poisoning myself. But it's hard because you have to learn to refocus your attention on other rewards. So an example of everyday rewards recognized by journaling or writing on a post-it note and sticking it where you can see it, all the good things you are getting from not drinking. What are you gaining? What does it allow you to do? Who does it allow you to be? Are you waking up feeling fresher, clearer minded, not hungover? Are you able to spend more time focusing on you and your healing, your spiritual growth? I feel a massive amount of freedom and liberation, and proud of myself, and just be as specific as you can. Also, in the early stages of not drinking, and I would say that I was in the early stages for about a year. I still do get cravings, but they're definitely not as bad as they used to be. So during these sort of trigger times, especially in the early days, treat yourself to what you like, some nice chocolate or a cake or some alcohol-free drinks. Giving up alcohol is a massive deal. It's really not a time to be getting stringent with, say, your eating or anything else in your life. Just focus on that. The rest will come later. So we need to reward our witch weekly as well. So what do you love? I love nice food. So I treat myself weekly to something amazing from a restaurant I love. I'm not spending the money on alcohol, so I'll treat myself to a really nice meal that I love. Or get some nice essential oils and have a lovely bath, or just watch your favorite programs and grab a pizza. Now, I would really like you to have a think of what you're going to reward yourself with at the end of these 30 days. Could you go for a fancy meal with a friend or a partner? Can you buy some of that expensive activewear that you love? Could you book a massage now for 30 days time? The tracking apps as well, which I'll talk about in another email, will help you see how much you've saved. Over the course of a year, I saved $750, and I spent every single penny of that money on myself. So remember, when your witch says, go on, you deserve a drink. This is the mental resistance to change. You don't deserve to poison your beautiful body and mind. It's a trick. So remember, it's normal and expected that your wine witch will have outbursts. Accept that you're not adverse to this, and it's a very powerful part of your brain built for survival. Just take care of her, take care of yourself, take care of the outburst by forgiving yourself. Guilt, shame, and frustration and other negative emotions are here to help us make repairs, not to destroy us. So we can use these emotions as an accelerator to compassion and forgiveness. Now let's circle back on the witch stories. Go back to your journal, and on the other side of the page, you can start to think about the more empowered stories that you want to live by now. Our subconscious stories dictate our lives and not the other way around. We might be consciously making the decision that we don't want to drink, and then find we're at a party, we get offered a wine and we take it, and it kind of catches us off guard. This is our subconscious. If we don't address our subconscious beliefs, stories, and thoughts, then we will continue to act the way our subconscious wants us to act, and you won't be aligned with your conscious thinking. Our stories make us feel, then act, then behave in a way that is aligned with whatever beliefs we have. So we want to be aligned with the powerful, evolved, but believable stories. So go back to your journal on the other side of the page, write down some new stories. Some evolved stories for me are the seemingly simple act of giving up alcohol has given me so many profound positive changes in my life. And that's a real, true, believable story for me. And that really has helped me rewire my brain. Another story is I have even better nights out without alcohol. This is also highly believable and true because I've proven it to myself. Now, you might not want to prove it to yourself in the first 30 days. It was 6 months before I actually went out to a pub and a restaurant. But when I did, I felt completely in control and just so liberated. It was amazing. And another story I live by is I feel free and liberated, and that's so empowering. So, ladies, that is it. If you have any questions, please tag me in the group, and I will see you again very soon. Goodbye.